Hey there, welcome to day 30 of the Get Up and Go Challenge. I want you to get up and go today just like every day, but I don't want you to go just yet. A couple things that we need to talk about before you leave me, or before we stop working on our get up and go-ness. I call it the 3 S's. SSS for systems, because I am huge on systems. I know how important. We talked a little bit about habits and rituals yesterday. I know the impact that they've had in my life. I want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the impact, the positive impact they can have in your life. I think I mentioned yesterday that I've started re-listening to my affirmations on my cell phone as I get ready in the morning. And I already am feeling more positive, capable, and optimistic than I was just a few days ago when I wasn't doing that. Now, is that the difference between the speed at which I'll achieve what I want during this pandemic? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm willing to stack the deck in my favor in as many ways as I possibly can. And one of the ways we do that is by creating systems to make our habits and our rituals really easy for us to do and stick to, right? That's why I've created over the decades a morning routine. And of course it changes over time as my needs and my goals and my health and my objectives change, or as where I am in the process of achieving different goals and objectives change. But for the most part, I've had a morning routine forever, right? Because it works for me and I know it supports me and where I want to go with my life. So I'm going to continue to do that. But I've created a system, and I systematically make it easy for me to do my morning routine, right? I keep my journal by my bed. I keep a pen by my bed. I keep a light and a magnifying glass by my bed. I do things like that work for me, so that when I wake up, I can do my gratitude. I can do my meditation. I can go through my steps, because they're different for each of us, that work for me to get my day started off on the right foot, right, in the right direction. So I want to create systems for everything that I do. So if you think back and you look at the main area that you decided you wanted to work on in this 30 days, there's things that you tried that worked, there's things that you tried that didn't work. The things that don't work, you don't do any more of. The things that work and work really, really well, that you want to keep doing and adding on and building on to move you toward your goal faster, those are the things you want to create a system for. A system can be as simple as setting an alarm on your cell phone or your phone or on anything, or asking Alexa to give you a reminder to do something, think something, feel something. One of the things, I don't remember who I learned this from, but they taught me that on our phones nowadays, most phones, you can set a little phrase or message when you set an alarm. So now for each of my alarms on my phone, I have a little positive affirmation and message set, or a reminder to do something or think something. Like if I need to take my vitamins, I know the alarm goes off to take my vitamins or my supplements at a certain time, or to get up and move, or to take to have more water, whatever the alarm reminder is. But I'll set a little affirmation there that reminds me, or something about my goal that is moving me toward my goal. So find ways to make things easy and to simplify them. That's the first thing. Oh no, that was the first and the second thing. Rolling into simplifying. The second S is to simplify, to make things kind of automatic and easy for you to do. Again, setting your life up and things to work in your favor. When we keep things simple, and I am the queen of complication. I've got, like, I don't know, 25 ducks in a row, right? And they're not always in a row, which is why they're here to remind me during this chaotic time that I get to decide how complicated or how simple I'm going to make things. I am working, and I have been for about the last year, just to drill down on things and say, okay, there can be, and I love Jack Canfield, but this would be an example. I read Jack Canfield's Success Principles book, and there's a ton of them in there, pure gold, right? But I remember when I read it the first time thinking, there is so much here, it's overwhelming to people, right? And I did another thing online years ago that I think of now, and it was like 1,000 success principles. Okay, yes, there's at least 1,000 success principles, because each of us go about succeeding and defining success for ourselves and on our own terms. You decide and define success and what it means for you. I define success and what it means for me. And since we do that, each of us individually, of course, there could be 1,000 success principles. Thing is, do you or I need to go through and read and understand 1,000 different principles in order to feel successful? No. We can keep it really simple. We can say, what does success mean to me, and define it for ourselves, and then always be moving toward it. And every day that we move toward our successful definition, we can say we're successful. Hey, every minute that we move toward every minute you move toward your successful definition, you can feel successful right now. Guess what happens when you start feeling what you want to feel right now? You start building on it. Remember, I think we talked about how humans stack emotions. Well, we can stack positive emotions just like we stack negative emotions. So why not, again, set your life up in your favor by keeping things simple and stacking positive emotions, moving you toward your goal for yourself. So create systems, create simple systems, right? If I create a complicated decision-making spreadsheet for every decision I have to make, what is the probability that, number one, make speedy decisions? What is the probability I'm going to use that tool often? 1 to 2%, right? But if I have a super simple decision-making tool, like I believe I shared the plus or minus decision-making tool, piece of paper, fold it in half, right, cut it in half, or draw a line down the middle, plus, minus. What's the benefits of doing something? What are the disadvantages of doing something? Positives and negatives. Boom. That is so simple. You can actually do it in your head. You don't have to write it down. Always more powerful to write things down. Success life principle, one of the 1,000, I'm sure, is the power of writing things down. I can't see, right? I think I've shared that I am legally blind, and so my vision is really bad. Yet, I am still an avid note taker. Now, I don't get to really go back and read my notes, but if somebody can read my writing, they could read them to me. I could have somebody transcribe them, and I could blow them up on my computer. I could have somebody record them. There's all kinds of things I can do with them. But that's not the most beneficial, and that's not the reason I write notes down. The reason I still take notes and write notes down is it's another way of reinforcing that information and putting it in me and in my brain and in my memory in another format. It doesn't matter whether I can see it or read it or not. The fact and the actual physical act of writing reinforces the learning and reinforces the knowledge. Getting ready to be involved in a 3-day virtual training and interactive training, which I'm really excited about, to see the technology and how people are moving in this time where we're socially distancing, or I say it physically distancing ourselves, to actually interact and see and have small group breakouts and do kind of cool things. So I'm really excited to see this technology, because I can definitely see myself doing a similar event in the not too distant future. I'm talking in the next month or so, doing a get up and go interactive event. How cool would that be? We can be talking to each other and seeing each other. Actually, not just me seeing you, but I can actually see you, you can see me. Or I guess instead of not just you seeing me, I can actually see you too, and find out, am I talking to myself, or do you understand and are you getting what I'm talking about, or do you need more clarification or examples or help with something? And so I'm really excited about that technology to see how that works. And I know it's done through Zooms, and I'm using Zoom for a couple of years, so I can see that I can easily make that jump personally to move toward what I want to create and develop. So what's the third S? You said 3 S's, Sharon. We've got simplification, we've got systemization. What's the third S? The third S is, support. Know that, and you might not always know it, you might not always feel it, but know that life and the universe and God and whatever you believe in always supports you. There's always support, there's always help, there's always a solution. I guess I could add a 4th S, solutions. Be solution focused. Know that there's always an answer, there's always a solution out there. But know that you're always supported. And if you don't feel that way sometimes, get out, go for a walk, find a quiet place, breathe, just breathe into and relax and let everything go. And in that quiet space, realize that you are there, you're still supported, you're still breathing. And no matter what's going on, this too shall pass. Everything is going to pass sometime, and we will all be fine, and we won't be feeling like we're in this dire situation in the not too distant future. But realize also that we've been here before, right? Every one of us. I don't know anyone that hasn't faced difficulty or challenges or had to make decisions in tough times, or that they felt were like the end of the world, or been in experiences that just they thought were going to break them, only to find out that they made it through that, and that they're better after. It's usually hindsight, right? It's when we're looking back on those situations that we thought were going to break us and kill us, that we realized that we've moved past that. And we've I was listening to a speaker the other day, and he said you can either let a challenge break you, or you can become a record breaker. Athlete, of course. There's lots of athletic metaphors out there in the world, because so many people can relate to them, right? Even if you're not an athlete, you understand the difference between being broken and being a record breaker. So a couple things I'd like to leave you with today. The quality of our experiences, right? If you take the sum total of all of our experiences in our life, that's what creates our life. That's what defines our life. And the quality of those experiences determines the quality of our life. But guess what? It's 100% up to you and up to me to decide and define the quality of those experiences, to choose experiences that make us feel good and move us toward what we want. And if we do that, we'll have a happy life. If we choose experiences and to look at the world as if everything is wrong and negative and bad and out to get us, that's the quality of life we'll have, right? We'll have a doubtful, worried, stressful, frustrating life. But we can choose. We can always choose. Even when we feel like we can't do anything, we can always change our mind, right? We can always change the way we're looking at a situation. We can always change the way we're feeling about a situation. And I can already hear you, I can't change this. There's no such thing as can't. We've discussed that. But also, we can. And the really interesting thing about us being able to is that no one else can do it for us. No one, no matter what they do, they can try brainwashing us, and I don't want to hear about brainwashing, and change our mind. But even being brainwashed is kind of up to us, right? So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do now? One of my favorite expressions is, if it's to be, it's up to me. And that means I'm responsible for what happens to me, and when I'm responsible, what I love about responsibility, and a lot of people hate, is that means I have some control over it, and I can have an impact on the results that I'm seeing in my life and the way I view situations. And so I love that. If it's to be, it's up to me. So I actually found an activity, which is kind of an end of something activity. And it's in, of course, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff workbook. And you can do it just for fun. This isn't our homework or anything for today. But it is the final exercise in this book. And it says, live this day as if it were your last. Live this day as if it were your last. And I think the reason I like this exercise is because I've been there, I've done that. I had my sudden cardiac arrest, and I realized, luckily I came out of that, but I realized that I was not living my life, or the life that was right for me. I was living the life that I thought was right for everyone else, and because of that, I was absolutely positively miserable in multiple areas of my life. Not in all the areas of my life. Remember, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, contribution, relationship, and financial. I wasn't miserable in all 7 of those areas of my life, but I was miserable in enough of them to cause me to shut down and die. So I love and appreciate these things like the bucket list and things like that. And this is, in effect, questioning that and giving you a list of 40 things that you could do for your bucket list, right? The things that you'd want to do before you die. The things that you do want to do before you die. Because you know what? We all should have that list of dreams and things that make our heart sing, that we know maybe we're not going to do them today, but we're going to do them before we die. Now, we never know when we're going to die, right? None of us do. We never know. When our time comes, I'm now of the mind that when our time comes, our time comes. And one way or another, when we're ready to expire, we're going to expire. That's the only way I can deal with the death of young people, the death of people from coronavirus. It doesn't make any sense. Why is one person dying and getting sick that we never thought would, and other people are recovering from it? There's some reason and rhyme to it, but there really isn't. In the overall scheme of the universe, none of us can understand why somebody gets hit by a car and dies and another person doesn't. We don't know. We don't understand or have the capacity to understand the bigger picture. But there's always a bigger picture. I just believe there's a bigger picture, and that helps me to understand that and know that it's okay that I don't understand, right? On a conscious level. Even on a subconscious level, I'm not sure I understand. But this activity is the 100th activity in this book. And again, live this day as if it were your last. And it just gives a list of 40 things to consider and think of. And then start doing some of those things. You know, if you've always wanted to learn something or do something, or you're curious about something, there is no better time than right now to look into that or start researching it, right? Or find out about it and see if it really is for you. I always wanted to travel more, and when this is lifted, whether I can see or not, I am going to start traveling and experiencing different parts of the world because I've always wanted to, and I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And, you know, after 10 years after my cardiac arrest, you would think that by now I'd figured out and started actually doing more of it. Do I need somebody to go with me? Probably, yeah, I need somebody to go with me. But that's an easy solution, right? So that's the activity. Our action item today is I want you to look at, and I'm going to do a recap bonus day. I was going to do it tomorrow, but since I've got a 3-day training, I may or may not. I might put it off till Sunday or Monday, but I'll let you know in the group. Today, I want you to look at those 7 areas of your life. And the first day, we assigned them a number, right? A number between 1 and 10 based on how we felt at the beginning of this challenge about that area of our life. So our physical, our physical health, our well-being, our mental, our thoughts, our emotional, our feelings, what our feelings are, 1 to 10. 1 being really, really bad, really negative, really stressed out, doubtful, worried, angry, frustrated. You know, those are on the end of one spectrum. And then 10 being, hey, I'm awesome. I'm kicking butt and taking names through this. I got this. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever you believe. Spirit is your soul, your being, your big you, right? There's us who shows up here in our physical shell, and then beyond that, there's a bigger version of us, and I call them little you and big you, or big me and little me. Little me, big me. Little me, big me. I'm a pygmy. I'm about the size of a pygmy. So your spiritual beliefs, your belief in faith, and your whatever you believe, what's your rating for that? I have to do this. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual contribution. What are you contributing to those around you? Others, people, and things outside of yourself. Financial. What's your financial rating? 1 to 10 about your current financial situation. Remember, our current rating for these things right now, it's just how we feel about it in this instant when we're doing the exercise. And then the final one is relationships. How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10 about your relationships? And, you know, it's the average of all of them. If you've got, you know, I've got an ex-husband. I never feel awesome about my relationship. Well, actually, I feel pretty good about my relationship with my ex-husband. But how do you feel about, you know, overall your relationships and overall feeling? And then compare those to what you wrote down day 1 and see what's the difference. What's the difference between when you started the Get Up and Go challenge and where you are now? That's our action item for today. And then share in the comments below one realization or one aha that you've had about that. Have you had like a massive shift in your thinking, in your mindset? Say you went from a 3 to an 8. That is huge. Say you went from a 3 to a 4. That's huge for you depending on your situation. I would say health-wise, I don't remember what I said at first. Probably, I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look at my own numbers. And then I'll tell you what my aha moments are and how I feel today. And I'll do the same thing. I'll share mine and share them in the comments below. That's it. Thank you so much for joining me for the Get Up and Go challenge. I'd love to do a Q&A session. So if you have any questions that you'd like answered about what to do next, what do I do now, what do I do to make sure that I'm always continually improving and moving in the direction I want to go toward my goals and objectives and values and beliefs and more, you know, whatever I want in my life versus away from it. You know, how do I know what to do next? Share in the comments below any questions you have about that. We'll set up a Q&A. We will also do, I'll do a review either tomorrow or, you know, in the next couple of days after I'm out of that training. So I want to make sure I summarize and recap for you so that you have what you need to do next. That's it. Have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, as usual, just ask me in the comments below or message me up. Horne-Ellstrom signing off. Get up and go. Take care. Have an awesome day. Bye.